The Chunin Exams is one of the most iconic arcs in the history of anime. We get to see our beloved Naruto characters fighting to the death to become Chunins and advance their careers in the shinobi world. And it was a very successful arc that everyone loves. This begs the question, why are there no Jonin exams? Because, well, if you have to go through an exam to become a Chunin, wouldn't it make sense to do the same to become a Jonin? Well, as everything there is to explain in the Naruto-verse, there is an in-universe explanation and an out-of-universe explanation as well. We're gonna get to both of those explanations, but before that, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and like this video to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Let's begin by the out-of-universe explanation for no Jonin exams. Yes, the Chunin exams were great, they were one of the best arcs, as I mentioned before, but...
Good God! It's hideous.
If you did another tournament arc, and don't get me wrong, tournament arcs are great, but if you do too many of them, they're gonna get repetitive. If Kishimoto did another one of those arcs, then the story could have felt a little bit stale and repetitive. Usually, you're just gonna get one major tournament arc in your shonen series. Now, of course, there are exceptions. Some exceptions do better than others in terms of making it more than one tournament arc, but it's usually better not to overload your series with storylines that are kinda similar. And let's be honest, it doesn't matter what type of tournament arc, of exam arc that you want to do, nothing is going to beat the Chunin exams. It's a lost battle, you're not gonna make anything better than it. Any tournament arc following the Chunin exams would at most be the same in terms of quality because the Chunin exams is borderline perfect. And people don't want things that are worse or kind of the same, they want things that are better. The story should progress, getting better and better as time goes on. And if you do this Jonin exam, then yeah, people probably are not gonna really like that. Also, there's the problem of where are you going to fit this in the story. The story of Naruto Shippuden revolves around the Akatsuki and the struggle against them. The entire world, essentially, in the end of the series, comes together to fight this evil organization, and in the beginning and the middle of Shippuden, Naruto is very concerned with them. So having Jonin exams in the middle of it would be a problem. It would probably tank the pacing of the story, unless the Akatsuki was involved with them somehow. But then it was just gonna feel the same as the Chunin exams because Orochimaru was involved with them and that was the big villain behind everything that's going to mess things up in the end of the exams. And if you did the same thing here but using the Akatsuki, it would feel samey and repetitive, as I said before. And if you don't want to involve the Akatsuki, then it's kind of weird because the entire story revolves around the Akatsuki. Granted, there is an argument to be made that sometimes not focusing only on the Akatsuki could have been good for the story, for the sake of world building and making things a little more varied. If you get antagonists that are not Akatsuki members, then yes, I think that could have worked, but I don't think that a Jonin exam arc would have been the way to do it. And also you could say, yeah, but Naruto couldn't even do the Jonin exam because he wasn't even a Chunin, he was a Genin when the series restarted Naruto Shippuden, so yeah, it doesn't work. But no, if Kishimoto wanted Naruto to go through the Jonin exams, then he could have just made Naruto a Chunin in the beginning of the series, saying that Tsunade saw his development and just promoted him. It wouldn't be a very big problem. It's just that neither a Chunin nor a Jonin exam would work for Naruto Shippuden and how the series was constructed there. Yes, maybe having an arc where the villains were not the Akatsuki could have been good for the story, and we got filler arcs that are kinda awful all around with villains that are not the Akatsuki, and you could say that Orochimaru is not an Akatsuki villain too, so we got that, but maybe having something that expands the world building could have been good during Naruto Shippuden, but then there's also the issue of pacing. The story has to be quick-paced, and if you read the Naruto manga, it is very quick-paced. If you're used to the Naruto anime, you'll be shocked how fast Naruto manga moves. But that's essentially the out-of-universe explanation. It simply wouldn't really fit the story for you to have a Jonin exam, and it wouldn't be as good as the Chunin exam, so it would inherently be an arc that people wouldn't be that big of a fan. So now let's move on to the in-universe explanation, which is kind of more interesting, I think. Most people have this misconception that the Jonin rank isn't that big of a deal in the Naruto universe. However, it is an amazingly big deal. The Jonin rank is not achieved by anyone. Your average Joe ninja in the Narutoverse does not expect to become a Jonin any time in his life. This is only reserved for literally the elite of ninjas. It's what the name means, Jonin, elite ninja. So Jonins are very rare. Nobody knows exact numbers, but be certain that most ninjas that you see in the war arc, for example, bundled up in those massive armies, they are 95 to 98% Chunins, and only a handful, quote-unquote, are Jonins, because this is not a rank that is easily achieved. Most people are gonna be Irukas, they're gonna be Chunins for the rest of their life. This is kind of the norm in the Naruto universe. You're gonna advance from the Genin level somewhere, if you don't die, of course, and then you're probably gonna stay a Chunin for the rest of your life, because these are the foot soldiers, the regular ninjas in the verse. When we talk about Jonins, we talk about the actual elite, but our perception in this matter has been skewed, because as we follow the story, we literally follow the strongest characters that the Naruto universe has to offer ever since we got past the time skip. Because before the time skip, we actually get to see a lot of characters that are not Jonin level fighting against our main characters, and our main characters are also not that strong. So you could say the Naruto Part 1 represents the Naruto verse as a whole better than Naruto Shippuden, because we're dealing with the quote-unquote more normal people, even though Kakashi is by no means a normal ninja. He is a Jonin, and he is famous all around the world. Everyone knows his name. You can see that being a Jonin, and especially a strong Jonin like Kakashi, is a big deal. He's known across all nations, essentially. But then when we get to Naruto Shippuden, yeah, we just follow the strongest characters in the universe. Naruto becomes really strong, especially when he gains Sage Mode, and Sasuke is already a god in the beginning of Naruto Shippuden. He is already above the top 1% of ninjas in the world. The antagonists are the Akatsuki members, who are all extremely powerful S-class Nukenins. They are much stronger than almost anyone you can ever find in the world. So yeah, people will say, yeah, Jonins, they're not that big of a deal, but yes, they are. If you go from an in-universe perspective, being a Jonin is a big deal. It means you are actually extremely powerful. So from this in-universe perspective, it doesn't make sense to hold Jonin exams. First, because you're not gonna have enough people to host a tournament between Chunins that are electable to become Jonins, because there are simply not enough people. Secondly, you don't want to get these people killed in your exams, because we know people die in them, and yeah, having Genins die is pretty bad. You don't want to lose your shinobis because they are important assets, but losing shinobis that could transfer to the Jonin rank is a much bigger deal. They are very rare cases of ninjas that excel, and you don't want to lose them in simple tryouts like the Chunin exams. You want to have them going on missions. You want to actually use them and don't risk losing them for quote-unquote nothing. Now, you could argue that the Chunin exams are important to establish the country's dominance around the world and display the power of their ninjas, but it's much better to do that with the rookies than with the very expensively trained ninjas that can become Jonins. Furthermore, it's very obvious that the nations don't want their Jonins to show their abilities to other nations. They want to use them as secret weapons, essentially. Why would you show the ability of a Jonin that you have, especially if that Jonin has a secret ability that almost no one knows about it? You don't want to be displaying those in a tournament, for example. I think it's not even a good idea to display the Genin abilities in a tournament like the Chunin exams. So exposing the Jonin abilities, like, this is not a sound strategy for any village. And let's be real, the Chunin exams are in the end of the day only something to show off the power of the nation's Genins, because the Kage of any given village has the ability to promote any shinobi whenever the Kage wants to. If the Kage wants to promote a shinobi, even if the ninja didn't go through the Chunin exams, he can. Now, if you do well in the Chunin exams, that's gonna be better for you. Maybe the Hokage slash other Kages will think more about you when they're promoting, but it's not that big of a deal for you to go in the Chunin exams. It doesn't even make sense later in the story because with the number of ninjas in the alliance, which is 80,000, if you count the samurai into the equation, every nation slash village would have about 13,000 ninjas, and about 9 ninjas are formed every 6 months in the Leaf Village at least. So even less Chunins are gonna be formed in the Chunin exams. Like, it doesn't make sense, the numbers do not add up, but you can assume that the Kage probably just promotes people when he feels like it, when he says, yeah, okay, that person did really well in those last couple of missions, he's definitely no longer a Genin, let's promote him. There's probably a threshold of age for you to be promoted as well if you don't go through the Chunin exams, but that probably exists somewhere. And that's exactly what happens when you're promoted to Jonin. We see Kakashi in the anime promoting Naruto to Jonin levels, from getting to Jonin, and in Boruto, Naruto says that he's never been a Chunin or a Jonin before, so it's kind of strange, but we see what it's like. Kakashi, the Kage, goes and says, yeah, you were a Jonin now, but you have to study, whatever, but that's how it works. If you see that your shinobi is capable of that rank, you can just promote him. That is how Jonins earn their ranks, and they don't really go through the Jonin exams because they would be a completely idiotic idea from an universe perspective. And I like when authors understand that doing something in their universe would make no sense whatsoever, just like the Jonin exams. Because let's be honest, even if the Jonin exams didn't reach the heights of the Chunin exams in part 1, people would still enjoy it, and it would be relatively easy to write a Jonin exam. It would sell well because tournament arcs usually generate that hype, but Kishimoto knew, well, this is not gonna work for the story that I'm writing, and it's not something that even makes sense in universe, so I am not gonna do it, and I have to respect that. Let me know what you think down below. How would a Jonin exam even look like? Watch this other video right here for more entertaining Naruto content, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and like this video too to help me out against the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for watching.